A 72-year-old man named Robert stands at a self-checkout in a suburban grocery store. He's wearing a vest with a name tag. He spent 40 years as a mid-level logistics manager. He retired in 2022 with exactly $1.2 million in his 401k. He thought he was safe. He thought the game was over and he'd won. But today, in 2026, Robert isn't buying groceries. He's scanning them for people 30 years younger than him. He's back at work because the math of the American dream just suffered a fatal heart attack. The quietest tragedy in America isn't happening in the streets. It's happening in the spreadsheets of people who did everything right. We were told that if you hit the $1 million mark, you were set for life. That was the magic number. But in 2026, $1 million is no longer a fortune. It's a fragile shield against a Category 5 economic hurricane. 30 years ago, in 1996, the median home price in America was around $140,000. Today, that same house is pushing $580,000. In 1996, a gallon of milk was $2. Now, you're lucky to find it under $6. This isn't just inflation. This is the systematic deletion of the middle class's exit strategy. The math used to be simple. You followed the 4% rule. You take $40,000 a year out of your $1 million nest egg, adjust for inflation, and you're good for 30 years. But that rule was written for a world that died in 2020. Today, the cost of staying alive has outpaced the growth of the average portfolio. Property taxes have doubled in 5 years. Home insurance premiums in states like Florida and Texas have tripled. When your fixed expenses are no longer fixed, your retirement becomes a countdown to zero. Let's look at a human snapshot. Meet Susan. She's 67. She was a school teacher for 35 years. She has a modest pension and a small savings account. 3 years ago, her rent was $1,600. Today, her landlord demanded $2,400. Susan doesn't buy steak anymore. She doesn't buy fresh berries. She buys canned soup and waits for the generic brand of her blood pressure medication to go on sale. She is the face of the silver tsunami hitting the rocks. The invisible enemy isn't just the price of eggs. It's the extraction of wealth through the two things retirees can't avoid: healthcare and housing. In 2026, the average couple retiring at 65 will need nearly $400,000 just to cover medical expenses not paid by Medicare. That's nearly half of $1 million portfolio gone before you even buy a loaf of bread. The system is designed to wait until you are at your most vulnerable. Then it begins to harvest your remaining assets. We are witnessing the death of the golden years. That concept was a historical anomaly, a brief window between 1950 and 2010 where a single life of labor could guarantee 20 years of leisure. That window has slammed shut. Today, the golden years have been replaced by the gig years. Go into any Home Depot or Walmart at 10 in the morning. Look at the gray hair under those orange and blue vests. Those aren't people staying busy. Those are people who realized that their safe withdrawal rate was a lie. The data is devastating. In 1990, a home cost roughly 3 times the average annual salary. In 2026, it's nearly 10 times. Wages have grown by inches, while the cost of a dignified life has grown by miles. If you saved $1 in 1990, that dollar has lost over 50% of its purchasing power today. But the taxes on that dollar? Those haven't gone down. The cost to repair the roof on the house you finally paid off? That's up 400%. There's a psychological weight to this that numbers can't capture. It's the weight of realized betrayal. You followed the rules. You sat in the cubicle. You skipped the vacations. You put the 15% into the boring index fund. And now, at the finish line, the tape has been moved another 10 miles back. You're told to work a little longer or downsize your life. But you've already downsized. You're already living in the smallest version of your life, and the walls are still closing in. The midpoint realization is this: the middle class didn't become lazy or spendthrift. The value of labor was engineered to collapse, while the cost of assets was engineered to explode. If you don't own a massive portfolio of appreciating assets, you're being liquidated by the very economy you helped build. The paycheck got bigger over the decades, but the life behind it got smaller. Let's talk about the hidden tax of 2026. It's not something the IRS sends you a bill for. It's the longevity tax. We're living longer, which used to be a blessing. Now, it's a financial threat. Every year you live past 80 is a year the system bets you'll run out of breath before you run out of bills. Assisted living facilities now average $9,000 a month. In what world does $1 million 401k survive that? It doesn't. It vanishes in less than 10 years. The emotional descent is real. It starts with curiosity in your 50s, checking the 401k balance with a smile. It turns into recognition in your early 60s, realizing the numbers don't quite buy what they used to. Then comes the anxiety. The first time you have to dip into the principal because the water heater broke and the Social Security check didn't cover it. Then the pressure. Then the fear. The fear is the worst part. It's the 3 a.m. calculation. If I live to 85, I'm okay. If I live to 92, I'm a burden. We have created a society where the elderly are forced to pray for a shorter life so they don't outlive their bank account. That is the ultimate moral failure of our current economic structure. The invisible enemy is asset inflation. The Fed prints, the assets rise, and the people who live on fixed incomes are the ones who pay the price. Their dollars are being diluted while they sleep. It's a silent extraction. No one comes to your door to take your money. They just change the price of the world until your money doesn't matter. Look at the clock on the wall. It's ticking louder for the American retiree than for anyone else. In the 1970s, you could retire on a pension and a dream. In the 2020s, you retire on a prayer and a part-time job. We see the help wanted signs everywhere. And for the first time in history, the people answering them are the ones who should be sitting on a porch. This isn't a conspiracy. It's structural analysis. The cost of the standard American life has been financialized. Your housing is a hedge fund's profit center. Your healthcare is a shareholder's dividend. Your debt is someone else's yield. In this environment, saving is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You have to pour faster and faster just to stay at the same level. We see the empty fridge light. It's a metaphor for a generation. The fridge is a modern stainless steel model, but inside, there's just half a carton of eggs and some wilting lettuce. The outward appearance of wealth, the house, the car, the 401k balance, masks a hollowed-out reality. The millionaire next door is now the struggling senior next door. The irony is brutal. We're the most productive society in human history. We have more technology, more efficiency, and more wealth than any civilization that has ever existed. Yet, our elders are more stressed about survival than they were 40 years ago. We traded stability for growth, but the growth only went to the top, while the stability was taxed away by inflation. So, what is the final realization? It's that the finish line is a ghost. You can't reach retirement anymore because retirement is a moving target in a high inflation world. The only way to survive is to realize that the old rules are dead. The good soldier strategy is a path to poverty. As Robert scans the last bag of groceries for a customer who looks just like his son, he doesn't feel angry. He feels tired. He's not a victim of a single bad decision. He's a victim of a system that changed the locks while he was still inside the house. He'll walk to his car, a 12-year-old sedan, and drive to a home that costs him more in taxes than his first house cost in total. He did everything right. He saved $1 million. He stayed the course. And yet, here he is. The paycheck got bigger. The life behind it got smaller. This is the new American reality. The money didn't disappear. It just stopped working as hard as he did. And in 2026, if your money isn't working harder than you, you'll be working until the very end. Disclaimer: this is not financial advice. The strategies discussed in this documentary are for educational and entertainment purposes only. Investing involves risk, including the loss of principal. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor or tax professional before making significant investment decisions.